We continue. Now we need to tint the petal. I have already done one. We have two of these. I have already tinted one with green and brown colors. It turned out that this is such a dented, spoiled petal with specks and splashes. It looks like alive. Now we will do the same with the other petal. We take a brush and we take like shades at the beginning and apply it along the edge. I'll probably take a white brush. It will be more convenient. The top of the petal needs to be colored more intensive. Since this petal is the most extreme shorting, it has a rich shade. We can no longer be afraid that we will overdo it. You can tint safely. We'll do it along the edge at the top, then take another green color which is more intense. It's too bright for those petals and we don't need it. Here we use it. Let's use a thin brush. Turn it over. Now from this side. Rumpled one turned out. You can make different sizes. You can make it bigger. I decided to do less. As if it's dried up. When it dries, it shrinks in size. We will have a smaller version. Then we'll see how it will look in the assembly, how realistic it will look. In general, a rose is a beautiful flower, the queen of flowers in any interior. It looks gorgeous. Even if it is not a bouquet, but only one rose. In general, bouquets are really wonderful. Friends, acquaintances are glad when you give such flowers as a present. There is no chapel to delight. We turned. What are we doing now? We need to take a more intense green color and a wet brush. Let's take this one. It is swampy. Now let's try to walk a little. Apply and rub immediately with your fingers. Remove the excess. We don't need it. We can apply in a chaotic manner. It depends on you. We made a fold. Let's try to highlight it. You go through with a brush and get a natural fold. Select it more and smooth it with a natural fold turns out. I overdid it a little. Turn over. The same should be done from this side. Let's pick it up. As if it is crumbled, rotten. Folds, grooves, everything needs to be highlighted. Then everything will be more spectacular and brighter. We tried green color. Let's try brown. Now, 2 and 2. We outline. Here you can do more intensively. Let's try now. How many leaves we will make? Select the fold. And on the other side. Like this. I will make it softly. It's greener. You can put points on the back. We outline tainted. You can make veins here. You can take a darker color. We will not do it now. The petals are ready. Now we glue them. We will use the super glue because the leaves are already dry. It will be difficult to stick on latex glue now. We will try to glue this way. The main thing is not to get on your fingers. If it hits, it will be difficult to peel off. Apply to the base of the petal. Now we apply and glue it. Retreat. It is very small. I decided to stick here. Press down harder so that the glue sets better. This is how it looks. Now it is time for another petal. We glue on the other hand. Let's go here. Pressing harder. It is unpleasant if it falls into your hands. It is very difficult to wash your hands, instantly sticks together. Carefully. It adheres very quickly and holds well. Let's see what happened. One leaf may be higher. When it dries, we will give a certain shape. One petal can be lowered a little, so you get a more natural version. Hang upside down while drying. I'll show you now. The petal we want to be pulled down. We take a regular napkin, fold it, and put it between the petals. We created a dropped petal effect. Let it be lowered. This petal will be higher, like this. When the rose is dry, it will look like this. I decided to choose this option. You can choose according to your own option. We put it upside down to dry. Look, this petal is down, so it will fix itself. Notice how the petals are down as they dry. This petal will remain in this position. We will remove the napkin after 2 or 3 hours, and it will remain in such a bent way. Leave it to dry. Next we will make sepals. So, what do we get? This rose has dried up. From 6 to 7 hours passed. This petal is raised as we left it to dry. This petal is lowered slightly. We got a natural form. This is what the flower looks like after tinting, after drying. The petals are already dense, there is no softness. They are flexible enough anyway. Even when completely dry, they are flexible enough. What are we going to do now? You made the bud. Now we need to make sepals. Let's get started. Removing our rose. What do we need for sepals? We take clay, rose veiner, a stack, and oil paint. We will use the Rhydon green and herbal green oil paint. We take some clay. It is enough, even a lot. At the beginning, you need to knead it a little so that it becomes softer, and then we will mix the green color into it. We will make the color not very saturated, because then there will be more toning, so that everything is natural. Let's try now. It is too much. Now let's see how much it turns out. Stir the clay. Such a light green color turns out. Now we dunk the clay so that it doesn't dry out. We remove the paints and we will make sepals. How are we going to do them? We need scissors. And starch also will be needed. We take a small piece of clay. We need a very small piece, even smaller than this one. We make such a triangle out of it. Now we will roll it on our hand. It is convenient for me to do this, more familiar. Use the stack slightly. We leave this place thicker. It can be thinner here. We take scissors, cut off the excess, and cut it in the form of a triangle. The same thing on the other hand. We got such a form. We remove it. Next, what we do? We need to process it. Now we will print it all on the veiner. Why are we doing this? It is necessary to get a natural drawing of the sepal. We take it and put it on the base so that the drawing is more pronounced. And we print it. So what happens? It turns out here is such a sepal pattern. Take a stack with a ball, a smaller ball. Press at the base. Working through the sepals. We will not do much. I slightly pinch just to give this shape. It turns out a fold. A little. You can do this with tweezers. I do it manually. Then we smooth out at the base so that it is not very pronounced. See how it looks from the inside and how from the outside. Also, you can make leaves. I will show you. We make a small incision near. Some sepals have it. We will do only in one. We will not do on the other because they are different. Now this tip can be pressed down with a stick and bent outward. It turns out such a bend. You can smooth these leaves in a stack so that they are not shapeless. Basically so. What happens? Now let's give the shape. You can take the dryer in which we dried the petals and leave it to dry. I put it in the hole. You need to make 5 of such petals, such sepals. Now I'll do one more. I will show you. Now I will make another one without any leaves so that they are different. Because everyone can't be the same. Roll out again now. It is better to knead the clay beforehand. We make such a small triangle and roll it out. It can be cut with cutters. It's more comfortable for me. Gotta get used. If someone fails to roll out on his hand. There is nothing complicated here at all. You can even stretch it a little, this ponytail. Further, the leaves will be imprinted on the vein again. Press. We create the texture. Here's what happens. We take a stack with a ball. We make a small depression, roll. Since the texture is lost after rolling, we can even do this. Put on the vein itself. To keep it straight. The drawing is better preserved here. Make a fold, press with your fingers. The fold turns out. Smooth it with your fingers, not hard so that the fold is visible. Inner side and outer. Now what are we doing? We decided not to make any additional leaves. Just bend the tail a little inward to make it more natural. cute little ponytail. Leave it to dry in this form. Two done, and there are still 3 to be done. Sepals are ready. I made 5 pieces. Now they are drying up. They will dry, then we will tint them. Next, what are we going to do? We need to make a leaf that will attach to the top of the trunk of the stem. There will be a small leaf. Let's try to make it. We take the same clay. A small amount of it. Give the leaf shape. And we'll roll it out better in a file. I will do it with my finger. It must be thin, not fat. It should be different from other leaves that are denser. Roll out and then cut the shape we need. So, what do we do next? Take a rose leaf veiner. We take starch, powder it so that it doesn't stick. On both sides. Let's prepare scissors, stack the petal. It sticks a little. We will do it on top and go through the starch on the back side. It can be dried, but all the same, while printing, it will no longer be possible to create an invoice. It should be soft. In order for all the veiners to be imprinted, it is better not to let it dry too much. We put on the base, we press, we look. So, the texture was printed. What are we doing next? First, cut by shape, approximately. It should be small. You can leave the tail. The reverse side is the same. We cut off. What are we doing next? We can roll the edge with barely touching. Just to know that the texture hasn't been lost, the drawing hasn't disappeared. We can even print on a new one. It is better not to do this because the drawing will be superimposed on the previous drawing. There will be nonsense. We cut out the teeth. They are more pronounced in the outer petals than in the leaves. I call all petals leaves, of course. We cut it off and then see what we get. These leaves have larger teeth. On the other hand, we do the same. Cutters with teeth can be used. Wherever is comfortable. Plastic cutters are made with smaller teeth and more realistic. Those that are metal, large teeth, are not very similar to natural ones. So, once again we go through with a stack, creating a band. You can stretch the clay slightly with your fingers. No hard so as not to tear. Somewhere a corner of a leaf. What are we doing next? We take wire, glue. We take the thinnest wire, number 28, for the upper leaves. It happens even thinner, but we don't need thinner. We take the pliers and cut off. Now we need to glue the wire. We take latex glue quite a bit. We remove the surplus so that we do not interfere, and here it is necessary to miss. This wire is still in glue. Insert and press gently. Remove excess glue with a damp cloth or finger. Here you can flatten the edge of the stem to make it more natural. The main thing is that the wire is not visible. It should not be visible even after tinting. Let's see what happens. Here is a leaf that will be attached like this, on the other side. What are we doing next? We put it to dry. We can give it an extra bend. So that it hangs down. This form will be normal.